Okay. Alright, we over at Goji Guy. He uploaded a video saying the Indominus REX versus the D-Rex. I just watched a video that I'm uploading right now from Goji Center, which was about whether the D-Rex will be able to fight or not. I'm hoping that it can, and I'm hoping that we're going to see something awesome right now with the Indom versus the D-Rex. From what it looks like, it's not a fully grown Indom, but I might be wrong. But I'm hoping Goji Guy is going to show us something insane. Go check them out. Give a subscription, some love, and let's get straight to it because I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Okay, no, Sensodyne. Sensodyne. I'm keeping that in.
Indominus REX, the Jurassic franchise's first big experimental character. Being first introduced back in 2015 Jurassic World, the Indominus was an instant classic. Her design, story, and power was all top tier, instantly becoming a fan favorite. Though little did we know back in 2015, this would soon lead the franchise in a
Jurassic World came in
direction.
2015, holy.
Rather than the paleo-accurate dinosaurs in their time that we see in the original trilogy, the World trilogy was more reliant on hybrids. While Dominion lacks one of these set hybrids, both World and Fallen Kingdom use hybrids to push the plot and put our protagonists.
Just remember, every single dinosaur is a hybrid. None of them are pure dinosaurs. They're all made up with different DNA genomes.
The D-Rex, a hybrid mutant dinosaur, being brewed on a secret island.
But they didn't put in the hyphen. That's messed up.
Was ever opened. A test and experiment gone horrifically wrong.
Oh my word, that looks
weird. These are freakish monsters that were never meant to be, having been thought up by man and brought to life with our tech. Not even thinking of the moral issues and the possible fatalities these two can inflict. Though, what if rather than living on separate islands, they were put on display together on Jurassic World? There seems to have been a time where both dinosaurs existed. So what might happen if these two cross paths? And more importantly, what would happen if you take the territorial D-Rex and pin it against the Indominus?
I mean, the D-Rex was around before the Indom.
Hello everyone, I'm your host,
I'd assume, because it was on an experimental island, which was before the Jurassic Park, wasn't it?
One must fall and one must prevail. Grab a snack and subscribe. As today, we asked the question.
That's right. Subscribe by him and subscribe by me. Woo, let's go.
Would win. Greetings, survivors of the Cretaceous and beyond. I'm your host, Goji Guy, and today we have a super interesting video for you. Now, before we break down how the fight between these two would go, I need to explain
this guy, this dude.
Firstly, and I cannot stress this enough, this video is entirely speculative. I'll be remaking this video down the line when the film actually comes out, but I know a lot of you wanted to hear my thoughts on this battle. So, here we are. We'll be using the info that we know, and then what we can piece together about the D-Rex to get a good idea of what he may be capable of. Secondly,
oh my word, what the heck? Hold on.
Together about the D-Rex to get a good idea of what he may be.
What the heck is going on with this dome? That's crazy. The design they have here compared to what Goji Center has is a lot different. I like the Goji Center design more. This is just a lot
capable of.
This design is a lot more freaky in my opinion. This is creepy as shit. What the hell is that?
We're assuming both these guys are at peak health before the battle begins. Along with that, the most likely places battle would happen would likely be in the D-Rex's domain. As we will cover, the D-Rex seems to be a super territorial animal, so I doubt he would leave his designated area for no reason. So it's likely the Indom on her killing spree would eventually run into his domain.
Okay, Goji Guy, you can slow down. Don't speak so loud. I mean fast. So, oh my shit, I can't even English.
Can I come to the premiere?
No.
Anyways, with all that said and done, to figure out who wins, we'll be covering categories in this battle. Set of categories including overall strength, fighting strength, speed, durability, intelligence, abilities, battle experience, size, as yes, it is important in this verse, and lastly, exploits, aka things each combatant can do to put the match into their favor. For these categories, we'll be looking at the Indom's feats for her, and then reasonably putting together what the D-Rex is capable of. But again, let me remind you, this is entirely speculative. So with all that out of the way, please make sure you subscribe.
For all the fanboys and girls out there, just remember, this is not 100% what will happen. So if your dinosaur you really like that happens to die, just don't worry about it. It's not gonna say what happened will happen.
Like many of the dinosaurs in the Jurassic series, the Indom has shown that she can easily rip through humans, being no more than butter to her. Her claws are effortlessly able to puncture through the gyrosphere. Now, if you're watching this and haven't watched Jurassic World, firstly, why?
Go watch it, yes.
Secondly, the gyrosphere are these traveling ball
Is this,
things.
by the way, is this guy, the older brother, no, he's not in Baby Driver, never mind.
Dinosaurs
I don't know.
Without putting yourself at risk. Now, that being said, we see that the gyrospheres are able to take a full tailspin
I feel like I've seen him somewhere before.
Without taking critical damage.
Maybe Shawn Mendes, I don't know.
To be able to withstand gunfire
hey,
up to a
Jimmy
50
Fallon.
caliber bullet at close range. She's able to slap the 330-pound Blue into a stone pillar so hard that it cracks, revealing the metal underneath.
Blue.
She's able to overpower Rexy in their battle.
Blue's
now,
cool.
I could go in depth on what Rexy has been able to do in the past. But need to remember, this is a older and skinnier Rexy who is not well kept in her enclosure. Side rant. Now, I've seen some argue that Rexy was fine, but here are 4 major things I want to bring up to that argument that are pretty hard to disagree with. Firstly, food. While yes, there are some guidebooks saying she was well fed in her enclosure, being well fed doesn't inherently mean strong. You or me could eat insanely healthy every single day, but if he lives in a small box with no way to get exercise, then that food really doesn't mean much. Secondly, which ties super close to the first one.
Yo, I'll be back. Okay, never mind. False alarm. I thought I heard the door close and someone is home, but nope.
Exercise. At least in humans, if you regularly go to the gym, after only about 3 weeks of not going, you will start to lose muscle mass. Now, while it is slow, it still happens. Now, look at Rexy, a dinosaur that hasn't had a true battle in over 22
too
years.
real.
Yeah, any muscle she would have had built up is long gone. Thirdly, her enclosure was likely built with the goal of maximizing profits rather than her comfortability. As we see with the Indom, and with the shady morals and practices of the science team in Jurassic World, they clearly only really care about money rather than the well-being of their dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Film
that's
theory puts it
100%
into
facts.
perspective perfectly. But I'll simplify. Lions require a lot of space to stay happy in zoos, roughly 5,000 to 10,000 square feet. Now, bringing that metric over to Rexy, she would need at minimum 225,000 square feet.
That's
but
insane.
Let's say, no, you truly believe Rexy was happy and healthy in her enclosure, and the Indom fought a peak health Rexy. Well, Rexy herself disagrees. As we see in Camp Cretaceous, Rexy herself, once free, starts to renovate her own den, showing that she wasn't comfortable in there to begin with. So, sorry about that, casual watchers. Just had to straighten some things out, as some superfans really believe that Rexy
that
was
makes
just peak
sense.
health for some reason in this fight, but anyways. So,
For any predatory animal, having their own domain is something that's just in their nature. So having something that's a lot smaller than something you're used to, or that's something that your instincts tell you is what you should have, is gonna mess you up a little bit in one way or another.
oh no, Indom can't take in Rexy's feats to further boost her strength. Though, with that being said, this is still a 8-ton T-Rex she's swinging around, so still a great feat nonetheless. We see that she can flip and throw trucks, roll over Ankies, bash through metal fences, and much more. But her best feat is the fact that somehow she was able to bring a Brachie to the ground. The Jurassic World Brachie weighing in at 60 tons. Now onto the D-Rex.
That's
Put on your
insane.
tinfoil hats, and let's get cracking. Now, first things first, those beefy
What
arms.
the heck
Now, while
is
I doubt
that,
you can live
bro?
with them, I was able to put
Okay,
a
hold
racket.
on.
Now, first things first.
How did they make this design for it? Because you can clearly see its head is not the same. That exact like. Okay, this is hurting my head. And they showed the D-Rex, the head, in the trailer. Like, how did they make the head look like that?
First, those
Oh
beefy
my word!
arms. Now, while I doubt he can live with them, I was able to put him in a super awkward position. They would likely be able to deliver devastating
And now, yeah, they're showing what it actually.
blows.
Okay,
Now,
whatever.
before we continue, I want to mention, no. Just because Goji Center showed a representation of what the D-Rex would look like realistically, that doesn't mean we'll be using that as evidence at all. The entire video is basing D-Rex on real physics, but guess what? That's not what we're
Yeah,
doing
but
here.
your design is completely wrong. What is this guy on about? I'm still interested to hear what he's gonna say, but his design is completely wrong to what they shown in the trailer. Like, I don't know.
Calm down, Goji Center fans. Just because Goji Center says one thing, doesn't mean it's been written in scripture. We're looking at the only true D-Rex, that being the film one, not the hypothetical real one. But I do want to mention this is no hate towards Goji Center. In fact, I have to give him a quick shout out, as Joe over at Goji Center gave me his blessing to use all their D-Rex clips. So, Joe, thank you. It says I have to bring this up, as I know some of you guys are going to bring it up regardless, but just to clear that out of the way. Anyways, back to what I was saying. If the D-Rex could stand on its back legs and swing his arms down, it would do devastating damage to the receiver, likely crushing most of the Jurassic franchise's dinos in a single swing. Along with that, the D-Rex has seemingly cleared out his swampy environment. And given what the film implies, these dinosaurs should be more of a threat. They're likely stronger than one.
I don't really think you can say swampy environment. Oh, I guess you could, but they're on an island. They're surrounded by water, so like, sure, you can have a swamp in the middle of it. It's not freaking Skull Island. Like, it's not gonna be that big. But what? No.
Once we see in the original films. And if the D-Rex is able to clear out his area for himself, he has to either A, kill the competition, or B, just scare them all away. Now, where some are likely just that, scared away, others likely challenge it for its territory, like the T-Rexes or Spinos. And lastly for the D-Rex, we know at a very young age, it was able to break out of containment, said containment having reinforced metal doors. So clearly, he has some really good ramming strength. So, who takes strength? Well, it's tough. The Indom has 4 more feats as, well, you know, it's actually in the film at this point. But I would
Wait,
guess
what did you say?
that as, well... So, who takes strength? Well, it's tough. The Indom has 4 more feats as, well,
More feats.
you know.
So, I mean, the only reason you're saying that is because we actually have seen it in
But
a
I would
movie.
guess that
So.
the D-Rex, given his size and what's implied, is super strong. So for overall strength, I think we have to barely lean towards the D-Rex. Biting strength. Next up is biting strength. And I'm not even going to go in depth on this one. It's the Indom. Now, while the D-Rex does most likely actually have a
that's
stronger
clear,
bite,
yes.
it's just the fact that his skeletal build makes it super difficult to use. Look at the Indom in her jaw. She can easily open her mouth wide enough and move her neck around to comfortably bite anything near her. But due to the D-Rex's limiting jaw range, along with the fact that he's barely able to move his neck, and therefore bite properly, regardless that his bite likely has a higher PSI, it's going to go to the Indom with ease. Biting strength goes to the Indom. Speed. Next up is speed. Now, this is an interesting category, so let's quickly cover the Indom.
That's gonna be
They've seen it a
Indom.
few times that she can run at 30 miles an hour. Cool, awesome, moving on. Now, the D-Rex is interesting. Now, while realistically, he should just lumber around, you again need to remember, this isn't a realistic world. So, throw that out of the window. Now, as you see in the trailers, well, as you don't see, actually, we have barely seen this guy yet. But from the few clips we've seen...
Yeah, but, okay, so clearly they've barely seen anything of the trailer because the design they made for the D-Rex is completely wrong. But whatever, let's continue. Whatever.
This guy more or less just kind of lumbers around. So maybe don't throw that idea out the window just yet. But with that being said, call me crazy, I do believe this guy might be...
Okay, sorry I'm pausing again. The reason I believe it's lumbering around is because the scenes they've shown in it is supposed to be suspenseful. It's supposed to have an impact of like, oh shit's gonna go down. Not more so of, oh, it's not running fast because it can't. It's just supposed to bring suspense. Supposed to make you think, oh no, now one of the key characters could die or something like that.
Able to gallop.
But whatever.
Now, firstly, I of course see this because of his overall
Like,
build.
look at this goofy bitch. What the hell is that?
Now, it would be hard to sustain that speed for a long time, but it wouldn't be a surprise if he could gallop in the first place. As firstly, I imagine there was a chase scene, so it would only make sense that he's able to move somewhat fast. But along with that, stick with me here. Call me crazy. If you think this build wouldn't work for galloping, well, my friends, I present you with one of Mr. Edwards' previous works, Godzilla 2014, where we see the female Muto, a kaiju closely resembling the D-Rex from a leg standpoint, is able to gallop. So we've seen Gareth make awkward animals run before. What stops him from doing it again? But I digress. Assuming he can gallop alone, much less 30 miles an hour and above, is a bit of a stretch.
Other than their entire anatomy being completely different, what stops it?
Durability. Next up is durability. Who can take more hits? And I'm gonna be honest, this one's tricky to answer. Now, let's of course start with the Indom.
We don't know
Indom's
enough
durability
about the
really
D-Rex to know about its durability, if I'm being
She
honest.
to blunt attacks, but not slicing. As you see, she's able to eat an NK tail swipe to the face, she's able to withstand the blast of a rocket launcher, and it's able to get man or, well, woman handled by Rexy, taking many rough hits, but each time she shows little to no damage. Now, with that being said, when it comes to slicing or piercing, yeah, it's not so good. She was torn to bits by the Raptors and Rexy, being sliced all over. She got metal railings stabbed into her quite easily, and she has shown that she's able to easily rip out her own skin when taking out her tracker, showing that claws can pretty easily tear through her, but more on that later. So she has really good blunt attack resistance, and seemingly heat as well, but she is super weak to slashing and stabbing attacks. Now onto the D-Rex. Now, this is tough to answer, but let's give it a try. Now, the D-Rex seems to be both super durable and also super not durable. Stick with me. As you see in areas like his legs, they are heavily armored, and seem to have super strong,
actually just
big
talking
bones.
this because I'm just listening.
If you bite or slash his legs, it likely wouldn't do much. Now moving on to his underbelly and sides. They are likely less durable than his legs, but still durable in their own right. Likely being flexible enough to negate most slashing.
No matter
attacks.
which animal, its belly is going to be less durable than any other
that
place.
being his bulbous head. Now, there are a few theories on what this could be. Some say it's a mutation at birth, and he's still showing traits of an embryo dinosaur. Some, like myself, have theorized that it may be a melon organ. But regardless, it seems to be a squishy part of his head that if he hit, could cause serious damage to his brain.
Theoretically, we have no idea.
And also really bad in others. Overall, the D-Rex has it worse with his huge head, but thanks to his height, it would make it hard for it to get hit in the first place. So overall, I will say durability, as of now, is a tie. Intelligence. Next up is intelligence. Again, start with the Indom. The Indom has shown many great feats of intelligence, being able to set up fake escapes, and using her abilities to fool humans, might I add, into thinking that she got out of her enclosure. The fact she was able to set this up and deduce that the cameras also have thermal detection is crazy.
We know
she was
that
able to remember and dig out her
we already
tracker
know the
and
Indom
then
is
use
quite
it as a
smart.
trap, and shows that she takes pleasure in killing other dinosaurs. So overall, she has some crazy intelligence. Now onto the D-Rex. Now this one is really difficult.
From what I know, we don't know much about the D-Rex currently. We know it broke out of its containment, as Goji Guy said, but we haven't really seen any of its feats that it has accomplished. So we don't know anything about its actual strength, durability, smarts, anything like that.
Well,
so this is very for
Firstly,
D-Rex.
the
Everything is
Indom,
highly theoretical,
likes
completely.
As we see it slowly and methodically pin a man against a wall, likely killing him right after.
That didn't
We also
pin
see
him
again,
against the
like
wall. What?
Indom, we see it slowly and methodically pin a man against a wall.
What are you on about, brother?
We also see again, like the Indom, he's able to sneak up on his prey, somehow staying unseen and unheard until stepping into the light at the
That's just the cause. They're dumb as shit. That's about it.
dock. So overall, shows traits of a territorial animal, likely constantly keeping an eye out on his swampy home. So with all that being said, while the D-Rex is smart by all means, at least as of now, it's nothing compared to the Indom. So she'll be taking intelligence.
Not compared, we don't know enough about
now
it.
onto abilities, and I'll keep it short, is the Indom. Really the only thing we can guess for the D-Rex is that he was able to sneak up really well, as none of the protagonists saw or heard
I mean,
him
yeah,
docks.
I
Well,
agree.
Indom actually has camouflage, she can control her body temperature, and has thermal vision, giving her a huge advantage in this battle.
But we
So,
still
when it
do
comes
not
to
know
abilities,
enough about the
Indom
D-Rex,
steals
as I'm saying.
battle
We didn't really know what it
experience.
is
Now
able
one of
to
the most
do.
important factors of any battle. That being previous experiences. Now, with that being said, let's start with
It'll
the
most
Indom.
likely be the
Now, her fights
D-Rex.
are pretty limited, as she attacks for about a day. But with that being said, the Indom is able to take on an Ankylosaurus, Rexy, and a squad of raptors. Now, while she did kill other animals, it wasn't really even a fight. Now into the D-Rex. And with what is implied in the film, this guy likely scared off and killed many other apex predators, meaning he must have lived there for a long time. Taking on a
I
wide
mean, okay, I'm sorry I'm pausing again, but correct me if I'm wrong. The D-Rex, it's on the island that was before Jurassic Park, correct? It's like one of the first experiments they did to make actual dinosaurs. So it has to have been around for a long time. Therefore, it has a lot of experience. It's had a lot of other mutants there, like you could say, to train, I guess. I don't know.
Animals throughout the years. I would say confidently that the D-Rex has killed T-Rexes, Spinos, and Quetzals. Dude, off topic, like just saying that out loud. Can somebody please make a pretzel type just called Quetzals, and it's just pretzels in the shape of a, you know,
This guy.
pretzel? So, who takes it? Well, for this, I'm gonna have to give it to the D-Rex. You see, while yes, the Indom is a great fighter, she's only fought other animals that are like her, at least from a build standpoint. Having no experience with something like the D-Rex. Now, you could argue that the sauropods she takes down could...
She fought sauropods, she fought Ankylosaurus, like her. I don't know about that one, so
qualify.
whatever.
I have to disagree. As once said sauropods fall over, they just kind of
Well,
give up.
there's
And
this-
well, if the Indom ran into the battle, thinking the D-Rex was some
what
sort of
they call
small
them?
sauropod, she would be in for
The
a hell of a
sauropods
surprise.
that she
With
went
being
against
said,
didn't even
while
put
she
up
has
a
no idea how
fight,
to
she
take on something like
wiped
the
them out.
D-Rex, the D-Rex has fought many things like the Indom at this point, likely taking on many Spinos and T-Rexes throughout the years. So the D-Rex would be much more comfortable in this battle against the Indom than she would be against the D-Rex. So
Yeah.
battle experience goes to the D-Rex. Size. Now, whoa, I know.
Easy ones.
Goji Guy taking in size as a vital factor? Well, yeah. Size rarely means anything in fictional matchups, but the Jurassic World universe is different, as it shows many times that if you're a larger predator, you'll have a much better time in battle. So, yes, in the future, when I do Jurassic World versus Jurassic World dinosaurs, size will actually be an important factor. Rexy still beats the Disney Carnotaurus, don't even. So with that being said, yeah, the D-Rex takes it with ease. And now finally, exploits. Who can abuse each other's weaknesses more in this fight? Starting with the Indom. The main thing she's got going for her is a surprise attack, and the fact that the D-Rex's head is squishy. Given her temperature control, thermal vision, and camouflage abilities, this will allow her to spot the D-Rex far before it spots her, giving her a chance to sit back and study her new foe. Now, whether or not she would be
Next
able
thing
to
we know,
deduce
we have
that his head is
the
a vital
D-Rex's
area to attack,
echolocation,
that's
just
what the
knows
user
about it
decides.
like
Though, if you
millennia
believe she
before
do that,
it
then the
knows
D-Rex would be in
anything.
for a
The Indom.
painful fight. Given what her claws are able to effortlessly do to the gyrosphere, it would be easy to slice his head wide open with a single slash, likely putting him down in a matter of seconds. Now onto the D-Rex. The major thing he has over the Indom is terrain knowledge, slicing attacks, and battle experience. Let's start with the terrain. While yes, the Indom will see him before he sees her, this is still his home. As he said, this fight would likely occur with the Indom going to him. So while she would get the surprise attack on the D-Rex, he still knows the layout of the land.
The
And
Indom
well,
is
if you think that
faster
doesn't
and
mean
more
much, well, my
agile,
friend,
so
you
we
didn't
have
pay
to go
attention in
to
history
it.
class. Look at the American Revolutionary War. Yes, I'm seriously covering this in a dinosaur video.
What?
While the British far outclassed the US, he won using a wide range of factors, such as guerrilla tactics, ambushes, and also a huge thanks to the fact that we actually lived here. We knew where we were and what areas would be important in the battle. Same thing with the War of 1812. Or if you want a different perspective, look at Vietnam. We were far outclassed due to the fact that, say it with me, they
It's
knew
nice
where
having
they
a
were.
history lesson.
So
Let's
that
go.
gives the D-Rex a huge advantage. To follow up on that, battle experience. The D-Rex, as I said many times now, likely fought many other top predators on his island, taking on Spinos, Rexes, Quetzals, and possibly hard hitters like Trikes or Anks, but we'll have to wait to see. So pairing his knowledge on how to dismantle apex predators, along with his terrain knowledge, the Indom better land a killing blow off the bat if she wants to win. And finally, slicing. As we covered in durability,
I don't think
the
that's
Indom
gonna be
is
able to
weak to two
happen.
types of attacks, that being slicing or piercing. And well, given that's really the only thing the D-Rex can do safely, as trying to slam his arms down could leave him with a fatal opening, he would likely just slash her over and over, and also constantly ramming into her to keep her far back. And if her claws are able to dig into her own skin with ease, so should his.
Yeah.
So overall, it's close. But due to the combined knowledge of the land and how to take on things like the Indom, I'm gonna have to give exploits to the D-Rex. So with all our categories tallied up, we actually, wow, this is rare. We have a tied score.
I was
With
about to
score
say
of
it's a
5
tied.
to 5. The Indom takes biting strength, speed, intelligence, and abilities. The D-Rex takes overall strength, battle experience, size, and exploits. And they tie on their
Exploits,
ability,
that's
as
crazy.
they both suck and excel in that category. So, who wins? Well, this is a super close battle, and truthfully, it could go either way. But there are really only two categories that make or break this fight: abilities and exploits. Now, the thing
Yeah,
is,
I'm
while
gonna
yes,
say
Indom
something at
did
the
win
end. Just give me a
abilities,
second.
They won't be useful after the first attack, as she doesn't show to be an animal that attacks and then retreats. Nope, she fights till the death. And due to this, for her to win, you would have to really rely on her on getting a fatal first strike. While the D-Rex, on the other hand, will always know his surroundings. And he will have the first few seconds in this battle to himself. While the Indom can study him from afar, she can only get so much info. Once the battle begins, she would need to analyze how this guy fights, while he would already know how to dispatch her off the bat. So, with all of that being said,
potentially
I'm going
possible.
to have to barely, absolutely barely,
go with
give
the
edge
D-Rex.
to the D-Rex. Between his scary strength and his advantages over the Indom, I see the D-Rex winning 6 times out of 10. But again, I want to remind you, this is entirely speculative. Once the film is out, I will redo this fully. So if you want to see that when it comes out, of course, subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, please share it around. I'm desperate to go to the premiere. Gareth, I know you're watching.
Yeah, okay. Ending at that point. As when the movie comes out, we'll know a lot more about the D-Rex, obviously. But it's coming to the point now, it's hard to make a video like this before you know barely anything about the mutant. So, I mean, I think he did a good job keeping in line with what's possible and what's not, and getting us a rough idea of what it could do. But in my opinion, I feel like he missed a few points. I can't think off the top of my head right now, but there's a few things I feel like he neglected. But I do agree with him, though. It was a pretty good theoretical understanding that he put into it. But I feel like once we get the movie going, we'll see what it's actually able to do, and I'm excited to see what it can do. But let me know your thoughts down below, because I could be also very wrong with what I'm saying. Whether it makes sense or not, I don't know. But yeah, if you guys enjoy, go check out Goji Center. Goji Guy, sorry. Okay, fumbled, whatever. Go check out Goji Guy. Give a subscription there. Subscribe by me if you guys enjoy it, and I'll check you guys in the next one. Peace out.